Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tonight, what we are talking about is the Chariot and the different meanings of the Chariot, both upright and reversed, trying to keep it out of the glare there. So this is the Rider-Waite version of the Chariot, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. Industry standard, basically, is the Rider-Waite. And then we're going to look at other different versions of the Chariot as well, because as I keep saying in these videos, I'm a personal believer that, especially if you're reading for other people, you need to have multiple decks so that you are choosing one that can speak to the other person that you're reading for, and the personality and the flavor with the nuances that they need to hear the message in. And so all of these have a little bit different flavor, different nuance. You know, and the ones that I'm showing you is just a tiny, tiny sample of what's available out there, but it gives you an idea about how the different flavors of decks can be, how their different personalities can be. So with the Chariot, first of all, we have the white and the dark Sphinx showing up here. This just talks about having energies that normally would go two different directions and being able to combine them and focus them so that they move forward in the same direction for the chariot ride to be successful. We've got the charioteer. This is always going to be the querent. The querent is not going to be one of the two sphinxes. That's going to be the querent, is going to be the charioteer. It's the charioteer's job to combine and coordinate things to work together so that a goal can be reached. Now, I think that it's interesting on the front of this chariot, there's a symbol there. It's not really a cross on that shield, but it kind of sort of looks like it to me. And I think that in certain readings it would be very easy to see this coming up as an ambulance or an ambulance trip that somebody took, just because of the way that is shaped. Okay, so you can see that the charioteer has behind his chariot a village or a city that is walled in. That's a foundation that's established, and so that tells me that the charioteer has developed some stuff, has created some things, and has nurtured some things into full manifestation, probably because of the self-discipline that he has as the charioteer, and because of leadership abilities being the charioteer. The chariot, for me, bottom line, talks about either movement or reaching a goal that not only requires your own input or your own efforts, but also requires at a minimum the encouragement of others, if not actual input from others. Okay, so reaching a goal that is a common goal, or actually literally moving. This can be movement in a car, movement in an airplane, by train, but movement in some type of vehicle. This is not walking, but it is some type of movement in a vehicle. All right, so that's Rider-Waite, and that's the general common meanings of the Chariot. So next, what we're looking at is the Good Tarot. Once again, you can see the white and the dark in the beasts here. These are horses in this depiction. And you can see the extravagance, I guess, might be the word. I don't know if I want to use extravagance, the abundance. I mean, it just looks like a very nice surroundings. So this person is established in what they've done already, probably because of some of the skills that they have as a chariot driver. This does look like a female chariot driver. So not all people who are victorious on reaching their goals, even when they're common goals, are just men. Sometimes that's females as well. Now, I forgot to tell you too, one of the other meanings for me about Chariot talks about a successful relationship or a successful partnership, particularly a successful marriage. Because in a marriage, you've got two people who are intrinsically individuals working together towards common goals. So for me to see the Chariot come up, that tells me that that is working successfully. So a successful partnership, particularly a successful marriage on here. And in that, there doesn't have to be a charioteer, although most marriages normally have somebody who's more assertive or more dominant. Next we have the Gilded Tarot. And so once again, white and black horses, charioteer. This guy looks like he is going through the clouds. Now a chariot is the card of success when it comes on right side up. It does talk about meeting those goals. If you've got a chariot card coming up, then these common goals are being met successfully. And so he's got the gold shoulder coverings. You know, he's showing this is success. This is leadership. Good leadership style shows up with the chariot as well. Now we have a really different take on things here with the Chrysalis Tarot. This is Hernie, the hunter. And this talks about, you know, he's got the sword in one hand behind his head, behind his back. And it talks about knowing when it's time to actually strike and when it's time to offer peace with that open hand in the other hand. So Hernie the hunter is always looking for opportunities, one way or another. Either opportunities to strike, to take action, maybe even aggressive action to create something successful, or opportunities to network, to make peace, to mediate, to bring success. And so Hernie the hunter really just talks about that success can come in different ways. This is still a goal or a target that is reached as a group or at least as a couple. This is not an individual goal or target that you guys are reaching, but this does talk about that the goal is the most important thing, and there's almost a single-mindedness in this card that really says anything that is not helping me reach the goal, I'm going to cut out of the way. And so this talks about being really focused on reaching that goal together with whoever it is that you're working with. Next up, we have the Chariot of the Golden Wheel. I like it. This has a lot of dust being stirred up by the horse's hooves. There's angels on that, angel wings on that chariot. This really implies speed, quickness. You see the two colors, and they seem to be working well together, even though their heads are a little bit going different ways. They seem to be moving in the same direction together. You've got the bright red on the charioteer's cloak with that orange and yellow flag. This just speaks of high energy, of quick movement, of getting to a goal with other people and getting there quickly, nothing standing in the way. La da da da, a Russian tarot of St. Petersburg. Same thing, chariot, two animals, different colors. And look how they're standing. They're not really facing the same direction, are they? That's the whole challenge with the chariot, is to get all the pieces moving together in the same direction, whether it's humans, whether you're using technology to help you accomplish this goal, but getting everybody turned the same direction and working on the same thing. You can see in this that these horses look pretty prideful. They're looking in different directions like, yep, this is the way we're going to go. Don't know what you're doing over there, buddy. So this charioteer has to, he has to be really skillful to be able to get them to move forward. And so if this were to come up for me in a tarot reading and it was this deck with the chariot, I would certainly still see success here, but I would see that it was success that really took some effort to keep everybody pointed in the same direction, and that whoever was coordinating this success was probably having to deal with a lot of egos along the way. All right, let's look next at the Druid Craft Tarot version of the Chariot. Once again, you see the black and the white. That hasn't really failed on this. Okay, we've also got, I'm not sure if that's a compass or some type of emblem that shows up at the front of the chariot there. I feel like it may be a compass, and this is probably something that signifies, not that the charioteer can actually see this compass, but I think to me it signifies that there is a direction, there's a goal, there's a specific target that they're going towards. And so this really, you can see that these horses are facing the same direction. They're going the same direction, even though they look very different. To me, this does talk about that successfully going as a team towards a goal, successfully and harmoniously in this card. Okay, let me get a sip and then we'll look at this last Chariot card. And this is the Wildwood Tarot, and I've kind of saved what I think of as the best of the Chariot cards for the last. This is actually called the Archer in this deck, and it's still a card that talks about winning, about victory, about reaching a goal. It does talk about reaching a goal, not as an individual, but with the help and cooperation of others. It talks about being very focused. You have to be really focused if you're going to take something down with an arrow. You know, you can't be thinking about 3 different things while you're getting ready to make that shot. And then it also talks about aid from spirit. Those white dog-looking animals behind the archer represent spirit. So this talks about having a victory that comes in part because we're communicating with spirit and letting spirit know what it is that we're so focused on, what it is that we want to accomplish, and asking for their help. So once again, it's the idea of teamwork with a little bit of a different twist, with the idea that spirit has our backs, that spirit's helping us to accomplish this goal. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so that's what I've got for the Chariot, and I hope that you guys find these videos helpful. Oh, you know what? We didn't look at these in reverse. Oh, we have to look at them in reverse, don't we? How could I not look at them in reverse? So let's just start from the back and move forward. Wildwood Tarot in reverse. To me, this means one of 2 things. It means when you're looking at your goal that you're trying to reach, it may be that you're not being very focused on it, which is not going to get you very far. Or it could be that you haven't asked Sacred Spirit to help you with this goal, and it's kind of rough going. Now, a lot of the reason it's rough going could be preventable if you would ask Sacred Spirit to help with this goal. That's that in reverse. Here, Chariot in reverse, I just feel like this is slow. This could be kind of losing direction, not knowing exactly where you're going with this goal. It could be that there's so many people in here with so many different ideas that you're kind of losing track of the goal, and that's what's keeping you from reaching it with that, what looks to me like a compass on there. It's probably not, but it makes me think of one, so that's why I read it that way. And then next we have the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg with that Chariot in reverse. I just feel like these horses, their legs are a little too skinny for their bodies. When it's in reverse, all the top heaviness comes to the bottom. To me, I just see those horses just falling straight down. So to me, this really talks about, we had this whole thing about the ego before. Whenever we look at this card, that, the charioteer is going to have to be stroking a bunch of people's egos to make this goal come together. I feel like here, with this in reverse, that goal is just coming to a standstill because not everybody's ego can be satisfied and people are just laying down on the job, basically. Okay, so next, we're looking at the Golden Wheel version of the Chariot in reverse. And to me, this really just talks about that there's a lot of confusion. All that dust that the horses are stirring up that I consider to be dust on the ground and not a bad thing, something that adds to the sense of things are happening speedily. To me, when I look at it in reverse, this reminds me of clouds, which talks to me about confusion. So to me, this says that things aren't going very well on this partnership, whatever it may be, towards reaching a goal, because there's some confusion in the mix. Maybe there's confusion about what the goal actually is, or maybe there's confusion about how we're getting there. But either way, that confusion is throwing off the idea of completing or reaching that target or that goal. All right, so Ernie, the hunter, And reverse, the one who looks for all the opportunities and who is very focused on the goal, on the target. I think that this in reverse is not something that necessarily comes to a complete stop. I think that there's still work towards the goal or towards the target, but there are obstacles here that are significant when this comes in reverse. This could be if there's an athlete that is wanting to perfect their pole vaulting and they break their arm and they have to wear a cast on the arm that normally holds onto the pole. Well, I think they grab the pole with both arms, don't they? Either way, that kind of interferes with things. So it makes it really hard to make progress. There's something here that is blocking the progress in a very tangible way with this card, because this looks like a pentacle to me. So I think something very tangible is blocking progress. I always say when I see the Chariot card too that when it's in reverse, the Chariot has run into some kind of obstacles. There's some kind of obstacle about reaching the goal or target that has come up. But I always feel like with the Chariot, I've never felt like it was permanently derailing the plan. I've always felt like it was just an obstacle. It was just temporary, and that it would go away eventually, and then the people will be able to move on and attain their goal or attain their target. So Chariot in the Gilded Tarot. Once again, all those clouds around the feet. When that's at the top of the card, talks to me about confusion. We do have the horses. They look like they want to go in a couple of different directions here. This kind of talks to me about confusion, but confusion in the idea of how are we going to accomplish this. I think everybody still wants to accomplish the same thing. They know what the goal is, but confusion about how that's actually going to come together and how we're actually going to do that. And that can be holding up reaching that goal. Now, the Good Tarot, Chariot in reverse. To me, this talks about the kind of a partnership coming apart that really is somewhat humiliating. It's something that you didn't really expect or see coming, and this is not something that you really want to talk about with just everybody. And I think that part of that is because there's so much abundance and there's this intimation of wealth on this card. I feel like, with part of that, I think maybe part of that wealth has been depleted. A significant part of that wealth has been depleted with this Chariot card in reverse. And, that's something that we don't like to talk about, is what's going on with our wealth, what's going on with our money. So that's an interesting thing to have there. And then last of all, Chariot card in reverse with that sunlight, all that yellow sunlight behind the person. It looks to me like with this Chariot card in reverse, there's something going on with a partnership where there's been a truth that has come out that has hurt the partnership somehow. Maybe there was untruth before, but now there is truth, and the truth about that untruth could really be causing a problem. So some kind of truth that's happening is causing this to derail. And like I said, I do think it's a temporary derail. It's not full-fledged, but it is definitely making an impact there. Okay? So now we're finished looking at the Chariot meanings. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all seriously for being here. I look forward to doing readings for some of you and Reiki sessions even too. And I will see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.